topic 2 of the money bond. And I'm here with Derrick. He's walking in right now. He signed up to speak today, and I'm just going to kind of follow him through that.
We're going to talk to City Council about 5G and some other issues. So if you see this, share this with your friends, and we're about to walk in, so we got to be quiet, but stay tuned.
Mr. Derrick Broze.
Mr. Broze.
To be followed by Mr. Desautels.
Hello, council members. Oh, mayor's on the way out. Doesn't want to hear me talk again. Always running away when I come in here. It's interesting how that happens. But my name's Derrick Broze. I think you guys are all familiar with me. I've been here multiple times, emailed you, called you about 5G. I was on the phone recently with Councilmember Travis's office and spoke with District G. Spoke with them about what's going on in Tanglewood. There's a group called Protect Tanglewood. Residents out there are fighting against the cell towers that are being placed next to middle schools, being placed 60 feet outside of their house, 80 feet outside of their house. That's part of the 5G network that Mayor Turner has supported. He's partnered with Verizon. Now Sprint has come into Houston. We're also working with folks in Acres Home who are concerned with health concerns. They're concerned with privacy concerns. They're concerned with the fact that the city council members here so far have been silent other than Mr. Christie. And Mr. Boykins just told me outside that he's interested in hearing more. I know, Kubash, you've been open to talking about certain things. But for the most part, I haven't heard from most of you, and I don't think your constituents have. I know for a fact that people have emailed every single one of you to talk about this. And I've mentioned before I have a radio show, so we keep raising this. We keep issuing invitations to all of you. I also want to issue an invitation this Friday evening in the Heights at the G-Spot Art Gallery. I'm hosting a community teach-in all about 5G. If you're totally uneducated, don't know what this topic is, 6 to 9 p.m. Friday night. I invite any of you council members to come out. I'll be giving a presentation about everything that I've learned in my investigations. This is an environmental issue. It's a property rights issue. It's a health concern. It's a privacy concern. And I'm also running for mayor of Houston, and I'm making it an issue in the election. So those of you who are up for re-election and are trying to keep your seat, I would suggest that you start looking into this because people are asking questions. They're not going to go away. I mean, Tanglewood is now filing a lawsuit through their HOA to try to stop it, and I suspect that other HOAs and other neighborhoods are going to also file lawsuits once they get their things together. So I just wanted to come again and invite you to come out this Friday night if you can.
Thank you. Councilmember Travis.
Thank you. Derrick, thank you for showing up today because this is something that does need to have a light shine upon it. It's actually very concerning for all of us with this 5G that's coming out because, as you've noted, Tanglewood is facing this issue. And I met with the board recently to discuss options that are available. Unfortunately, I'm not saying this is an excuse to me, but keep this in mind, folks. A lot of what we could do is taken away from us by the state legislature. And so any road that's over, I think, 50 feet wide, we don't have jurisdiction over when it comes to putting these up. And where we are in Tanglewood, where they're putting them is 60 feet. They made it so that they could get away with this without having to come before council. If it's 50 feet or less, if they're doing it on there, we would have a say. We could help not stop it, but we could actually tell them where to put them. And we're not able to do that on this situation. So they are going through and putting them in. They have to have line of sight. So where they used to have less of these cell towers, they now need more of these cell towers. And it's going to get ugly and it's going to get bad because 5G is, while it's an improvement, it's also going to be something we're going to have to contend with. So I appreciate you bringing this up because you're exactly right. This is something we need to be paying attention to.
Can I respond to you?
Oh, yeah.
So I spoke with, I'm sure you are familiar with Ms. Lasher and the Protect Tanglewood group in your district. And I spoke at a forum last week with some of the other mayoral candidates. I'm supposed to be meeting with them tomorrow, and we're going to schedule other events in the neighborhood. And, yeah, they're absolutely planning to continue fighting. You're correct that Chapter 248 of the Texas Local Government Code is what restricts local power. You also have the FCC, the federal government, has passed rules that restrict local power. So I just think people should start to see that this issue is not just one of the health concerns or privacy concerns, but that local power is being taken away. Yeah. And it's this is the infrastructure for the future that everybody's excited about. And you basically have no say in how it happens. That's, I think, why the mayor doesn't want to answer questions, because he realizes that the power is, he's either unwilling or I don't want to speculate, but I do appreciate you being willing to listen to your constituents, and I hope that the rest of you will as well. And again, thank you to Jack and thank you to Mr. Kubash who've expressed interest in this topic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Councilmember Laster.
Mr. Broze, thank you for speaking about the particular issue. I think I joined Councilmember Travis, and I know Councilmember Stardig and I have, at least in passing, have talked about the issue that these poles are being put up all over the place, and they're being put up in the most inconvenient and the most ugly spots in front of people's houses, in front of their near their driveways, all of those things. I don't know about the 50-foot deal, but I know in parts of Sharpstown, they're not putting them on a pretty pole. They're putting them on top of a creosote pole. So Peter Brown used to call billboards litter on a stick. This is litter on a stick, and literally. And I really think that the challenge that we have now is that, as I understand it, the authority has been given to a lot of these companies by the legislature. So I think it is incumbent upon all of us to call our state representatives and our state senators, because I'm sure they didn't think 1 minute about that vote. And I know that the people of Sharpstown and Southwest Houston, when we call our state representatives, they certainly begin to pay attention and respond, and are almost always responsive. So I think that one of the tacks that we need to take is the fact that we need to go to the authority source that is actually authorizing this, ask them to pull this back or adjust and to make adjustments, at least as much as anything, to protect the integrity of our neighborhoods. Thank you for talking about the issue.
May I respond to your comment? Mr. Lasser, I appreciate it. And while I understand the concerns about, the eyesores of the place, the people I talk to, they're more concerned about their children's health, that these things are being placed right outside of schools and things of that than they are that, it looks ugly. Obviously, nobody wants it in their backyard, but go to Tanglewood. It's right outside the middle school. The other thing is the city of Portland, the city of Danville, California, and several other cities have actually, the city council level, we're willing to take on lawsuits, because that's what it will take for anything to slow down when it comes to 5G, to say, hey, let's do a health assessment, or let's think about if we want to have local power. The mayor and you guys would have to be willing to face potential lawsuits, and that's what they've done in Portland. They're going to face lawsuits to fight it.
And I may be a little distant or different from your approach. I don't know that I'm opposed to the installation of 5G. But I am opposed to it next to a school or next to or in front of somebody's house, and particularly in not only in Tanglewood but in Sharpstown. Our property values are as important as everybody else's property values. Absolutely. We certainly have plenty of places to put cell phone towers all over this city. You can put them on top of buildings. You can put them all over the places, and you don't have to put them in people's front yards.
But that's the problem with 5G, is because of the type of waves they use, millimeter waves, they only travel 200 to 500 feet. So it's not a fault by design. This is the way it's going to roll out. They're going to be installed every 200 to 500 feet. So, we can say we support 5G.
Well, then maybe they ought to go buy easements and they can put them up like everybody else.
And also we need to, practice the precautionary principle. Study it first. How about that?
Motion to extend. All right. Motion to extend? Second? In favor, opposed? Okay. Councilmember Kubash?
Thank you, Mr. Broze. What station are you on?
90.1 KPFT, Friday afternoons from 3 to 4. And you're welcome to come talk about it this week.
Since you've been coming talking about it, and I sure hope you're wrong about all this. I sure hope it's not endangering us, as I really hope it's not. But on the other hand, this week I had 3 gentlemen approach me about this very problem, and they were very dogmatic about the fact that this is a real danger to our health, and they got my attention because these are folks that are really concerned about the medical situation. So I'm just I still haven't seen any. They sent me some stuff to read. I haven't read it yet this week, but they're saying that they believe that these things really create a real medical problem for us. So I hope you're wrong, but if you're right, we've got to sound the alarm, And so if you would just send me whatever you have that documents anything that I can see, I would really appreciate it. I don't know if you have my email address.
I do have your email address.
I'd really appreciate it. Don't send it to the at-large 3 thing. I get so much there that I don't get to see it all. But
well, if you want to meet me afterwards for a second,
I'll step out and give you my personal
What I want to
email.
say to you, Mr. Kubash, though, is it's not really a matter of whether I'm right or wrong, because I've interviewed Dr. Martin Paul of Washington State University. I've interviewed other professors and other experts on this. This is not only as far as the health concern
Well, I hope
goes.
they're wrong then. How about
I
that?
hope everybody's wrong with
Yeah,
it,
I
but
hope
it
it's
doesn't
not
seem to
doing
be the case. I think, because the thing is 5G, it's just the bigger threat is EMFs in general. We're surrounding ourselves with Wi-Fi, with a lot of these devices, and most of them haven't been tested. The FCC's regulation standards are based in 1996, 23 years ago, and those standards are out of date with the technology that we're currently using. And so that's the big question that people are asking, and I would listen to your constituents who have these questions, because I'm telling you, more and more people are asking these questions, not just in the United States, not just in Houston, but Australia, Germany, all over the world. People are beginning to ask these questions. They've been banned in Brussels, Belgium, and other places where people are saying, let's just slow down and do a little more testing. We can have a smart city, but maybe it's smarter if we slow down and do some more testing before we just roll forward. I mean, I think that's all people are asking. I'm not sitting here saying I'm against all technology or something like that.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilmember Castick-Tatum.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Broze, thank you for sending that information. I did read your information, talk to a couple of people about it, and then we also had some applications for some cell towers in the district, and I reached out to the planning department, had a meeting. They gave me a map that shows where the cell towers are located throughout the city of Houston, and they're everywhere. I think that what's really important is for us to look at how we can potentially incentivize companies for co-locating. I think from my conversations with them, it has been that each of these companies want their own tower. But as a city, I think it does make sense for us to look at, are there some incentives for us to encourage companies to not put up their own tower, but to co-locate and maybe have companies share those towers so we can maybe not have so many towers up or towers near schools until we do know the final impact that these towers will have. Are they willing to co-locate and have a lower number of towers throughout the city of Houston? So thank you for keeping it on our mind.
And thank you for reading the
Councilmember
emails.
Travis.
I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And Derek, I want to go back and revisit a few things here as well. Because we're talking two different things here. We're talking safety, number one, and then we're talking the usage and how this gets rolled out, number two. On the safety issue, I don't know anything about that. I do find, though, and we should be somewhat concerned with our new technology, because I found out the other day by watching the news that we're starting to grow little horns in the back of our head because of our cell phone usage. So I don't know where all this will lead to, but it probably should be looked at a little bit more. Someday this may be determined that it's near your ear. It may have caused cancer. I don't know. I try to keep it away from me as much as possible. But with that said, those things I don't know. But what I do know is this, is with what Councilman Laster said about the easements, they've got the use of our easements right now, and that's the problematic. And they get to use them through that code you talked about, Local Government Code 248. But here's the key on 5G. They need more of these towers than the old service of 4G and that. So we're going to see a proliferation like we've never seen on these.
The FCC estimates 800,000 in the next couple of years around the country.
Well, I did not know it was that high, but that sounds about right. And so consequently, we need to be concerned about that. And you're right, we need to get with our legislatures and get them to undo it so we have more control over it. Because, and I'll give you an example, I actually was fighting one of these towers. Move to extend.
Motion to extend. Second.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
In favor, opposed? Go ahead.
They actually were putting one of these towers near a medical center that my law firm represented, and they were putting it right near where they do the x-rays. And they were saying that it was going to interfere with the machine itself. Plus, they had all these doctors saying they would leave the building if this tower was going to go in there. So we asked them if they could move the tower. And we said we'll work with them. We'll put it on our property, but we'll have to move the tower. Now, the good thing is, under the threat of a TRO as well as controlling them, they did agree to move the tower. And that's something else, and I will say this. I'm not saying it's perfect, but Verizon has made itself known that they will work with the location of the towers. How well, I don't know, because what they do is they sub these out to small subcontractors. And it's these small subcontractors who are told, put a tower right here, put a tower right there, and they just go out and do it. And I think that's one of the problems we've got is we just can't go to a Verizon or AT&T and work with them. We've got to work with all the subs that are out there on their behalf.
Yeah. In response to that, I've mentioned here before, I'm not sure everybody was present, but it was in some of the emails. The National Toxicology Program released a 10-year, $10 million study in the fall of 2018, October, and it found 2G and 3G, which we've been using for decades now, connections with tumors, an increase in tumors. So that's 2G and 3G as we're moving into 5G and surrounding ourselves with an exponential increase of this equipment. I want to take a note here that I know that Mr. Christie is interested. I've heard from Ms. Tatum, I've heard from Kubash, from Travis, from others now. So that's almost half of you guys here. What would it take to commit to the people of Houston to say, let's put some funds together for a health assessment or something? I mean, this never took place. That's the whole thing, is the mayor started making deals without there ever being a public health assessment. There was never a public comment period. I mean, it's just insane. When I tell people about this, they're like, what? This is happening? And we have no say in this? So I don't know. I'm just going to kind of leave that on you guys to see what would it really take if there's so many questions just in this conversation we've had here today. Why hasn't there been any kind of local, health assessment, environmental impact assessment? People are here to talk about the climate action plan. They're going to cut down trees. There's already studies showing that not only the EMFs could pose dangers to us, but to the environment itself. So, I mean, I think that this is an issue that affects a lot of different people, and I really hope that you guys will step up to the plate. And I know that the people of Houston are going to be thinking about this when they go to vote this fall.
Thank you very much.
I support your plan on doing an assessment. I think that's a good thing to do. And you're all right about the trees because of the way this works and its line of sight. We're going to lose a lot of trees along the process because they're going to be trimming these trees back, and a lot of these trees can't be trimmed back. If doing so, we'll kill them. So we're going to have a different look in our city, and it's not going to be a good look, and it's going to be an unhealthy look. So
they can make the towers look like trees. They try to do that sometimes, but I don't think anybody's buying that.
They do, but it's not a very good look. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Next speaker.
To Joe Desautels. To be followed by Ms. Paulette Schonfield.
Well, that went better than ever.
Yeah.
That was probably the best response I've ever gotten in the last 8-9 months I've been coming here. We heard from 1, 2, 3, at least 4 council members. And one of them, who's in Tanglewood, where I've been talking with, he sounded like he supported the idea of a health assessment. Most of them were kind of nodding along. But if you're in Houston, or even if you're not in Houston, I think this creates an opportunity now. They've been put on notice. I'm doing what I can to put them on notice. Email your council members. Call them. Start calling their offices right now. As soon as you've seen this video, call them, leave a message, send emails. Contact me and I can help give you documentation of information if you want to send them. They're ready to listen, whether it's the health concerns or privacy concerns or that it's going to look ugly or whatever. The point is, this is our chance to start pushing back. I don't know why today they were so receptive. And also, I will note, you saw the mayor literally get up and run as soon as I came up to speak. He doesn't care. So anybody who's thinking about supporting Mayor Turner, I think you should look at that. And so I'm running for mayor to put a moratorium on 5G and to slow it down, to study it, and to give you a chance to have a say on what happens with 5G. So please help me out, support me. This is day 2 of 7 events in 7 days that we're doing. We're trying to raise money so I can stay in the race through November so that we can make 5G an election issue. But I need your help. We need to raise funds. If you got $5, $10, $20, please check out our website, check out our crowdfunding campaign on our Facebook page, and donate to us if you can. And I think that's it, guys. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.